Buckeyes and Beyond. Here are your hosts, Jeff and Mike.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Buckeyes and Beyond, our fourth episode. Sunday, January 19th, recording in the evening here. We were trying to get some better audio quality going, so we were trying some various microphones and software and what we thought was going to be like a $120 solution turned into a $40 solution. So we pulled a Freddie Kitchens. We got too fancy with the play call, and we should have just gave it to Nick Chubb, just right off tackle, and that would have worked. But we went with like a flea flicker. We went with
all verticals.
Yeah, we went all verticals. 4 verticals. We went. We even probably somewhere along the way there we stuck in a Statue of Liberty. I don't know, but it was really an off tackle. That's all we needed, right up. Just a straight handoff.
I think our new piece of microphone equipment is just going to be called Chubb. We're just going to call him Chubb.
Yeah, Chubb. So
it's very simple.
Yeah. So we're hoping this sounds pretty good. We've done a lot of testing, so it better damn sound good. I'm going to throw everything out the window. So we're just going to quit the podcast if this doesn't come out well. So anyway. So we're going to move along here. I'm Jeff, and this is Mike.
Hello, everybody. What's going on?
And just a couple of Buckeye fans, football fans of college football and pro, and other sports too. We just a couple of regular guys, sports fans, dads. So we just want to have a kind of a relatable podcast based out of Columbus, Ohio. That it's not like totally Columbus, Ohio centric. We're not going to just, have a bunch of local lingo here or anything on this podcast. So we're hoping to, bring in some listeners from all over. So,
yeah, I think we have some listeners from, if I looked at our listener
analytics.
Yeah, the analytics, which I hate that word, but
Paul DePodesta.
But if you looked at them, we are, of course, we get some listeners that are really primarily from here, but I think we have some from Arizona and Alabama, which I couldn't figure out. But hey, that's great.
I guess it just, depends on what kind of tags you put in there, and maybe that helps.
Yeah,
attract fans of just college football. So,
which is what we're trying to do.
Yep. So we're going to start with the Clemson LSU national championship game, where the LSU came to play. It started off a little slow.
Yeah,
I think it was just a lot of feeling each other out. It was 7-7 after the first quarter, and then Clemson came out in the second quarter, went up 17-7. I'm sure everybody's heard it. It's almost a week old now, but we'll just kind of quickly recap it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people. You got if you watch ESPN or listen to the radio, sports radio, you get kind of inundated after a big game. Like that's all anybody talks about for 48 hours.
Yeah, we can just kind of touch on it real quick because I think we each gave a pick last week and a score, which mine was way off. I was thinking there was going to be more of a real giant defensive struggle. I think I picked 24-17,
yeah,
which was a horrible way to go.
Yeah, you had a backup score of 31-24.
Yeah, 31-24, which that one didn't play out either.
So. Well, at least you had 24 for it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. But that was.
I had 35-27.
Yeah, you were much closer than I was.
So the final score was 42 for LSU, 25 Clemson. 28 at halftime. The big swing there is LSU. After they went on 17-7, they scored 21 unanswered.
Yeah,
that was a pretty big momentum swing.
And they did it all through the air. They didn't do a whole lot on the ground.
Yeah, I think he was a bigger. Well, it's funny because he had 16 carries for 110.
I don't remember. It didn't feel like he had 16 carries.
Yeah, I'm just seeing it now. I never even noticed that, but
did not feel like that at all.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire seemed to be the X factor or biggest. I don't know, just biggest.
I know what you are trying to say. It seemed like he had
to be effective for them.
Yeah, but but it didn't seem like he was even a factor in the game. I mean, I don't know if he even caught any passes. How many passes did he
five
catch?
for 54.
Okay, well, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they split him out like wide on the edge a lot, and that would take one of their safeties away from over the top.
Yeah, which I never would have thought to actually do. That was a great great game plan by Joe Brady. So
Clemson liked to play 2 and sometimes 3 high up there, and then they would take one away. A lot of times they were left with 1 or 2, but they were going 5 wide there.
Yeah, there was
for Clemson.
There was, in fact, I think they did a lot of that in the second quarter too. Whenever they were trying to make their comeback, or the third quarter, they went 5 wide a whole lot.
Yeah. So that, I mean, he ends up being a factor. Just if it was, I mean, I guess if you have any running back there, they have to,
but maybe honor it in some way, but
maybe maybe they play zone on that side or something.
Which you would think that would be the more simpler solution, would just to just to play zone on the side that he's at. But I never would have thought that they would have been able to get Brett Venables to do something that was completely out of his wheelhouse, but they did.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we talked about last week was why we picked Clemson was Chase and Jefferson are just going to win those
LSU, not Clemson. You said why we picked Clemson.
Crap, sorry.
Yeah.
We both picked LSU, but
yeah.
One of the reasons was we thought Chase and Jefferson were going to win those battles.
Yeah,
on the outside, they're going to leave them out on an island, or just be able to find them before the safety came over to help. And sure enough, that is what happened. Jamar Chase went off. 9 catches for 221 and 2 touchdowns.
He was a beast, man. It looked like no matter where they lined him up, he was just going to, I mean, because I think they had him lined up in multiple spots, and no matter where they put him, Clemson had no answer for him. He came to play. He was a man amongst boys in that game. Yeah,
they really make and Justin Jefferson had 9 catches. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 5. Terrace Marshall had 3. Thaddeus Moss had 5 and 2 touchdowns.
Randy's boy.
Yeah, Randy Moss's son, Thaddeus. So who's actually declared? He declared for the NFL draft. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that
I don't
came
know if I would have
just
done that if
day.
I was him. That's weird. I mean, he didn't get a whole lot of press, a whole lot of pub, but
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to that here in a little bit, but about anybody else that declared it's just, I mean, Joe Burrow, 463, 5 touchdowns in the national championship game. That's insane.
So I was thinking about this too, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but would you say that's probably the best season for a quarterback ever? What
statistically? Yeah. So, I mean,
what he has done is, up there with anybody. And not to go back way back in the, history books, but what he did, I don't think will ever be close to being repeated. It was insane.
No, that offense and then the receivers he had. Those guys are Chase and Jefferson.
They're probably first round picks.
Yeah, those guys are studs.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys both might be. Chase can't even leave yet.
Oh, that's right. He's a sophomore? Or is he a true freshman?
I thought he's a freshman. No, he's a sophomore.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he can't even leave yet.
So they get him back next year.
He had 84 catches for 1,780.
Wow.
It's 1,780 yards and 20 TDs this year.
I didn't realize his numbers were that good. Wow.
Yeah.
That's really good. That is impressive.
Yeah.
That whole offense is something I've never seen. That's sort of what we hoped that the Buckeyes might actually look like, and they very well could next season once Fields gets a little bit better. But I don't know if anybody's ever going to come close to what Joe did this year.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson had 111 catches this year.
84 for Chase and 111 for Jefferson.
Yeah.
Chase
was a little bit more of the deep threat, and then Jefferson was, I kind of the intermediate route guy. I guess he was 111 for 1,500 yards and 13.9 per catch, 18 touchdowns. So I mean that's
ridiculous.
Yeah, that's really good in college. I mean those are like NFL season numbers.
Yeah, those are. You will not see that again for a long time. I don't think.
Again, I guess that's through all 15 games. I'm sure.
Yeah.
The stats. So 15 games. I mean, it's a little different than it was back when they were playing like 12, 13. Now it's like 15.
Yeah.
So if you make it all the way through, if you go all the way to the national title game, so get to pad your stats a little bit. But still,
yeah, that's a lot of numbers to put up, man.
Yeah. So Trevor Lawrence didn't play that great. Like I thought LSU did a lot of the things that Ohio State was trying to do.
Yeah, they did.
They brought pressure in a lot of the similar ways, and I think their line might have played a little bit better than OSU's against Clemson.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the Buckeyes gave them a blueprint for sort of how to stop him, but also how to shut down that stupid, quarterback draw or that run, because we gave up 2 big ones to him. So I think they took what we did and just sort of expanded on it and made it a little bit better.
Yeah, one thing that Trevor Lawrence said about Ohio State and what the way he was able to get out of the pocket for those draws with the linebackers were committing too quick to gaps, and he just took the one they didn't go in, and they were committing too early.
Yeah, which to his credit, I mean that's a smart thing that he was doing, and it's just foolish that we weren't able to get a hand on him. But that's neither here nor there.
So Trevor Lawrence was under 50%, just under 50% for the game, and no interceptions, but there was that big fumble where he scrambled and he got hit just right, and he fumbled it, kind of like reminded me of Justin Fields when he fumbled, same type of fumble where he's kind of diving
against Penn State,
diving head first, and they knocked the ball out off his right arm. Yeah. So so 42-25 LSU national champions.
Congratulations to Joe, man. I mean, it's nice to see a former Buckeye do something great. So
and a lot of good videos post game of Burrow smoking a cigar.
That was great. Yeah.
Odell handing out money. Horrible.
Smacking the ass of a security guard. And
he had an arrest warrant. A lot of aftermath in that.
And I think actually I just read too that they actually rescinded that.
Yeah, they rescinded that. So yeah, I'm sure he had another handshake for that security guard.
Sure, yeah, it's something else. He said, "I'm really sorry. Can I shake your hand?"
Andrew Jackson would like to apologize.
Yeah. Please say hi to my good friend Benjamin Franklin and his 5 twin brothers.
Yeah. Oh, so a lot of interesting aftermath after that game. So Coach O almost cried a few times.
Yeah, which it's hard to really dislike him. He's such a likable dude, man. It's so fun, It's up here in quote Big Ten country, we are sort of inbred to hate the SEC and just not stand it. But it's so hard to hate him, man. He's such a funny dude. He's so likable. So
yeah, I saw where he was giving a speech and he was getting choked up, and then he just cut it off because he kind of did a football guy, like, I don't want to cry. So he was like, he was just kind of like, I just want to say that I love these guys. Go Tigers. So he was just kind of like, he was choked up, didn't want to cry, and then you just got to go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Just get it. Just end it.
Yeah.
So
Coach O.
Yeah. So LSU national champions, and so early. Clemson's a favorite. I think everybody's got him as like an early preseason with Lawrence coming back. ETN comes back, which was interesting.
Yeah, I was surprised, but we were talking about this too just before we had jumped on here. What we had thought was going to be a pretty deep class too was maybe the reason why he had decided to
guys
stay.
coming out.
Yeah.
Dobbins.
Jonathan
Taylor.
And we had thought Chuba Hubbard, but no, he's actually staying too. So
let's see. Let's pull up everybody here.
Okay.
DeAndre Swift from Georgia.
That's right. Yeah. Swift.
Taylor from Wisconsin. Say this is walterfootball.com, which is a pretty good website. There's a lot of good info usually for the draft. And Travis Etienne, running back from Clemson, was rated 3rd.
Wow.
But he's staying.
Yeah.
Zach Moss from
I forgot about Zach Moss from Utah.
Coming out. Chuba Hubbard, but I don't think. Let's see. Did he declare?
No, that's what I was just saying.
What you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And he's actually staying. So.
All right. So Dobbins, and you got Cam Akers from Florida State, but that was a kind of let's see. Najee Harris was an early entry. He was a definite.
Yeah.
Which
is weird because Alabama didn't have that great of a season. I don't know why he would have left. I would almost think that he would have been better suited to stick around for one more year.
See AJ Dillon from Boston College, which might be
he's a
sleeper.
He is a sleeper. I've seen some of his film. He's actually a really good back, man.
Yeah. Yeah. See, was he a senior this year? No, he announced he is forego.
Okay.
He was a junior. He's coming out.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't make a lot of sense for these running backs to stay.
And especially
at times,
especially because the NFL has sort of, really devalued the running back.
Right.
So, you don't see many of them drafted in the top 10. I think Zeke was probably the last one that was drafted in the top 10.
Yeah, they get the rookie contract. They're lucky to get like one after that.
Right. It just doesn't happen.
Once they hit 30, it's like,
and I think even nowadays, once they turn 28, that's really pushing it. I think Gurley's a really good example of that. He was a top 10 pick, and he's 28 now.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely just declined. So
yeah.
Because they take such a beating on, every single week. It's so hard for them to really maintain their health.
Especially if any of them have had a surgery on a knee or an ankle.
Which kind of tough. Gurley has. He's had multiple surgeries.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully Etienne, he has some luck on his side. And he doesn't have any of that like Marcus Lattimore sort of luck with that was terrible. So
I was actually watching that game. That was a tough injury to see.
Yeah, it was rough. So Marcus Lattimore, I think he had a torn ACL.
Yeah, it was in the bowl game. South Carolina, for those who actually don't know, he was a really good running back at South Carolina, and he was probably going to be a first-round pick. Then tore his ACL in the bowl game.
Yeah, Marcus Lattimore, I'm sure is pretty good. Highlight videos on YouTube. He was very good.
Yeah.
Before his injuries. Senior Bowl. So we got Senior Bowl coming up. They just had the East-West Shrine game. Benjamin Victor, Ohio State, had a nice catch.
Yeah.
High pointing the ball about the goal line, got in for a touchdown.
And let me ask you this: do you still think that he needs to really put on some more weight before he gets really good at? Because I don't think he's even. He's maybe 180 or 190. He's just,
gosh, he doesn't even look that heavy.
Because I said that from the minute that I saw him play for Ohio State. That guy's got to put on some weight, and he never really did in all of his years. To his credit,
listed 6'4", 200, but
I don't think he's 200 pounds. I'd be shocked if he's really 200 pounds.
But yeah, I don't know.
Well,
we see those guys up on TV up high, and they look skinny. And
that's true.
they're like average build or something,
But really good for him. I'm glad that he was able to, to actually make a name for himself in the Shrine game. So
I think he's got to at least put on 10 pounds.
Yeah,
I'd say 10 pounds for sure, because 10 pounds of muscle, and because you got to be able to fight off the jam at the line of scrimmage more in the NFL.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's probably more zone than there used to be, but
Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, they don't play that much press in the NFL now.
But again, if they get the right matchup, then they're going to let you run free.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
Senior Bowl. Let's sort of just real quick, let's touch on all the Buckeyes who are there. So we got Buckeyes in the Senior Bowl. We have, I know Malik Harrison is in the Senior Bowl.
Devon Hamilton.
Devon Hamilton is in the Senior Bowl. Let's see here. Malik Harrison, who I just said, is in the Senior Bowl. Jonah Jackson, who was our grad transfer from Rutgers, is in the Senior Bowl. And I believe there's only a couple more Buckeyes. Austin Mack and KJ Hill are both in the Senior Bowl. So,
yeah, a lot of guys that could, just could use it.
Yeah.
Just for just a little bit more of a highlight, something to put on, show the scouts against other good competition.
I think especially really for someone like Austin Mack, the Senior Bowl is a great way for him to really, raise his stock, because he was hurt so much this past year that he didn't really see the field that often. But when he did, I mean, he made outstanding plays. So someone like him can really benefit from the Senior Bowl. So,
yeah, some other guys that are kind of interesting playing in this game are, let's look at like Michigan guys. I don't know. Let's just talk about Michigan. Shea Patterson.
Yeah.
Playing in the Senior Bowl is kind of interesting. Like it could, I mean, I don't know if it's really going to help him a ton, but it's just kind of interesting. I don't know, to see how that turns out.
Yeah. For someone like Patterson to compete in the Senior Bowl, I mean, it never hurts, but I think there's so much film on him where he looks bad so often that, I mean, he would have to have just an absolute stunning Senior Bowl to even raise his stock. I think he sort of has just this.
If he's down there a couple weeks with different coaching, that it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and this could really take us off onto a whole other topic about, Jim Harbaugh and, being able to coach quarterbacks. But, I'll tell you what, let's stay there for just a couple minutes, because it's really interesting when Jim Harbaugh's a former quarterback, and you would imagine he would be a great quarterback coach, but he never really has been his entire coaching career.
See, Andrew Luck and Colin Kaepernick. I mean, he had them under his wing. I mean, how much he did, I'm not sure, but it's kind of hard to say. I don't know whether he's lost his touch or what, because he's not be able to recruit anybody.
No, and you could almost make the argument that Andrew Luck was he was going to be great no matter who was his coach, because he was such a millennial talent. Kaepernick, you could really give him some serious credit for. I mean, Kaepernick was pretty much a nobody whenever he got into the league, because he was like a 5th or 6th round pick.
He had some little bit of buzz out of Nevada.
Yeah, I believe that's where he played.
Because I think his coach out of Nevada was like one of the innovators of the pistol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so he had some buzz. I mean, they were like, this kid's got some good athleticism. He's got a big arm to get the right guy. He had some like maybe a steal. He had some buzz like that.
Yeah.
Late round steal.
So I guess maybe you could make the argument that Harbaugh is just not a very good recruiter. I mean, that could be it. I mean, he's had more or less scrub quarterbacks since he's gotten there. And some of them he actually, he's had some scrub quarterbacks. He inherited some transferred there, like John O'Korn was a transfer from Houston, who that didn't work out well. And of course Shea was a transfer from Ole Miss. Yeah. So I mean, it seems like he just can't find that one that is gonna get him over for this
blue chipper,
this hump. Yeah, that's really what he needs, and he's not been able to get one, and I don't know that he ever will.
What about the McCaffrey kid there?
Christian's brother? Yeah, I can't I can't think of his first name off the top of my head, but yeah, Christian McCaffrey's brother is a quarterback there. I don't know. I never saw a whole lot of film on him. So
Dylan McCaffrey.
Dylan, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was coming out of high school, if he was a big time name or not.
6'5", 220.
That's a good size for a quarterback, man.
Yeah, I mean, I see Michigan blogs already saying that there's some other guy that's going to be the starter next year.
Really?
It's a guy named Joe Milton.
Oh, Milton's, yeah, he's there still.
Oh, yeah, is he kind of a dual threat?
Yeah, he is, which I guess he probably fits more into what their offensive coordinator's name escapes me right now.
Josh Gaddis.
Yeah, he fits more into what probably Josh Gaddis wants to do. So I guess that would make sense.
Yeah. Justin Herbert's in the Senior Bowl. Kind of surprised that he ended the season pretty well.
Yeah,
Rose Bowl against Wisconsin. So I don't know why.
Yeah, he's somebody who really doesn't need,
And I think his stock is in a really good place.
Yeah, I don't know if he even needs to go to the Senior Bowl, but
yeah,
I mean, some guys just, I don't know why he would go. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But hey,
the guy I like in the Senior Bowl for Wisconsin is an outside linebacker, Zach Bond.
Yeah, Zach Bond is actually one of my favorite players in all of college football. He is aggressive, he's mean, and he fills the gap really well.
Yeah, hopefully the Steelers don't get him.
God, I hope not.
They seem to always get that guy,
I know.
that type of guy, good outside linebacker. But yeah. I think they're filled up on outside linebackers. They got their spots taken. So, but yeah, I think he's going to make a really good pro.
Yeah.
And other Buckeyes, you said Jonah Jackson.
Yeah, Jonah Jackson's going to be in there.
His stock's really good.
Yeah, I tell you what, transferring from Rutgers to Ohio State was probably the smartest decision he's ever made in his life.
Yeah.
Because if he was at Rutgers, he might be,
it's just harder to get noticed on the loser.
It really is. I mean, coming here, he's probably turned himself into a second round, third round pick, Yeah. And where if he would have stayed there, he probably would have gone, undrafted.
Yeah.
So,
Jalen Hurts is in the Senior Bowl.
Yeah. So the thing about Jalen Hurts is I don't know if he's going to get a real shot to even play quarterback in the NFL. I just don't see it happening. I think it's going to be teams are going to ask him to convert to a, probably wide receiver, running back, but I doubt they'll ask him to be. But he's probably going to be asked to switch position.
Mm-hmm.
So,
any other names on here?
Well, I was looking at our list here, and I don't know who this player is, but it's probably by far the coolest name in the whole Senior Bowl. Offensive tackle from Auburn, Prince Tega Wanaghohu. So I don't know if I'm even actually.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if I'm even really pronouncing that right, but that's a very cool name. Prince Tega Wanaghohu. So, but yeah, any other notable names? Not really that I've seen on this list. As far as Big Ten guys, there was a couple Penn State players that, that Buckeye fans might know. Robert Windsor, who is their pretty good defensive tackle that they had up front. And from Iowa, they have a cornerback there, Michael Ojemudia, which I do believe. So,
did you get that right?
Yeah, I think Ojemudia. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of really big names in the Senior Bowl this year. So
Lamar Jackson from Nebraska, corner from Nebraska, he gets a lot of buzz.
Yeah.
So he's one of those 6'2" corners. That's going to be.
Those are so hard to find.
He's got to have a good combine.
Yeah.
This Senior Bowl will probably be good for him, and then combine.
Yeah.
Might be with diamond in the rough. A guy that plays on a team that's like, they didn't even get on a bowl.
Yeah.
So Nebraska didn't make a bowl, did they?
No, God. I think they won 4 games or
4, 8, 5 and 7.
5 games, yeah.
So this guy, that's one of those type of players that needs this. So all right. So we had a little bit of technical difficulty there. We were anyway, we'll spare you the details, but we had a little bit of technical difficulty. So we're kind of like, if you hear a little break in the recording, it's because of that technical difficulty breakdown there, and it's kind of like part 2 of the podcast. So just ignore if you hear a little bit of a like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like sort of a cutoff, and now we're gonna move on. So our next topic, we're going to talk about the 150 greatest players in college football. So we had a big list that had a lot of interesting stuff going on. They covered a lot of the different eras of college football. They seem to appease everybody, and also pissed off a lot of everybody too at the same time. So number 1 player of all time on this list was Jim Brown, running back. He played at Syracuse 1954 to 56. Of course, the great Cleveland Brown running back. 8 of the top 10 guys were running backs, which was interesting.
Yeah, because it's sort of goes to show how much times have changed. Because if you were to tell kids who watch the sport nowadays and you tell them how big running backs were, they would think that you were just full of garbage. But it goes to show that that how big the running game was back then. I mean, like we had actually talked about previously, recruiting, you didn't bother recruiting a really dynamic quarterback. You just went after running backs, linemen, and that's all that you wanted to do was just to run the football. If your quarterback threw the ball more than 15, maybe 20 times, there was something wrong. So, it was a whole different game back then as opposed to what the kids see nowadays. So,
yeah, there weren't as many spread offenses. Still a lot of I formation, split back, sort of stuff.
A whole lot of, 22 personnel.
Yeah. 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, a lot of fullbacks back then.
Yeah. Which I think isn't even a position that most schools have. I think Wisconsin still has a fullback, but other than that, you don't see that many of them.
Yeah. Fullback's a dying breed.
Yeah, definitely is.
But 49ers in the NFC Championship, they're
Justin Juszczyk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's playing fullback for him.
He's in there a lot of plays.
Yeah.
Almost every offensive play.
So, yeah, I mean, 8 of the 10 players are running backs, including a former Buckeye, Archie Griffin, who is number 4 on the list.
Still the only two-time Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
Let's see, how many Heisman Trophy winners are there in the top 10? Barry Sanders,
Archie Griffin. I don't know if Jim Brown ever won it. Bo did. So
Earl Campbell won.
Yeah, Earl Campbell. So let's see. Red Grange. I don't know if he was a Heisman Trophy winner. I don't know if they even had the Heisman Trophy back when he played. So, Dick Buckeyes, who was also on the list, and Gale Sayers. I don't know. I don't believe he won the Heisman Trophy. Mm-hmm. So I know Barry Sanders, Bo Jackson, Archie Griffin, and I believe that's it from this list.
Red Grange played so long ago that he had a nickname of the Galloping Ghost.
Yeah, Galloping
Ghost.
It's not a good nickname to
it's
have.
It's a very, very old-timey nickname.
Yeah.
It's a Galloping Ghost. That's a very old-timey nickname.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Just some other notable names that we had going through here. Obviously, Walter Payton, Sweetness was in at number 16.
He went to Jackson State.
Yeah.
1AA.
For those that don't know what that is, that's actually what you would call FCS nowadays.
Yeah.
So,
mm-hmm.
Reggie White, number 19. And again, a lot of the, younger kids nowadays, they don't know who he was. He, in my opinion, probably the most dominant defensive end in the history of football. He was just absolutely a beast. He is, and not to get off on too far of a tangent, but he was the first ever huge free agent signing whenever free agency became a thing. Mm-hmm. It was the Reggie White sweepstakes. Who was going to get Reggie White? So he was that good. He was that big that he got the first huge free agent contract in the NFL.
Yeah, he seems like the guy that first kind of like became publicized in a way, like the kind of the sweet science of defensive end.
Yeah,
where you used to see John Madden break down moves and kind of like give them names, and like kind of where he had the outside rush or the inside move. He had like that club where he got under the left arm of the right tackle and like clubbed him, kind of made him fall off. The dude was so strong.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah, he was great. And of course, unfortunately he, passed away far too soon. I believe he died of heart failure or something.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, but he was gone way too soon.
He passed away. Seems like it was a while ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
2004.
Yeah,
it's been a while. 15 years
since he passed
arrhythmia.
away.
Yeah, heart failure.
Yeah, he died of heart failure. So, other notable names: Peyton Manning at number 21. And then O.J. Simpson, Deion Sanders are 25, 26, and then we get to another Buckeye.
Eddie George.
Eddie George. Sorry, that name. He's at number 38. Yes. Eddie George, of course, one of the greatest running backs in the history of Buckeye football. Some would say probably the greatest. Although, funny enough, J.K. Dobbins passed him in total yardage this past season.
By about like what, J.K. 38 something? Or?
Yeah, because Eddie George was at 37.68, and I think J.K. got past 38. So I think he got maybe closer to 39. I'm not sure.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I think
Eddie George was it
to. Oh, he broke 4,000.
Okay,
yeah, he did break 44.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait a second.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think he got to 4,400.
He broke the all-time record.
I don't think he got to 44.
Yeah. Oh shoot.
But yeah, Eddie was.
Yeah, he did.
Really?
Yeah, because he had 2,000 this year.
Yeah.
He had 1,053 in 18 and 1,400 in 2017. Wow. Yeah, he got 4,459. I did calculate that right.
How many rushing touchdowns did he have?
Oh, shoot, just close the tab.
Sorry, no, okay. Because Eddie George had 44 in his career.
J.K. never seemed like a big TD guy.
No, I don't think he ever was.
Because they spread the ball around so much. It was just, I mean, if he played in that offense, good Lord.
Yeah.
38 rushing TDs.
Still, that's pretty good.
5 receiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, 38.
So the next Buckeye that was on our list is, and again, a little bit older player, Jack Tatum. Probably known as one of the hardest hitters in the history of football, too. That dude would light you up, man. Back when you could.
Yeah, he had a book. Jack Tatum wrote a book a long time ago called "They Call Me Assassin."
I vaguely remember hearing about that.
Yeah, they Call Me Assassin. It was from 1980.
Okay.
Then he had 2 other books he wrote after that called "They Still Call Me Assassin." That's what it's called. They Still Call Me Assassin, and Final Confessions of an NFL Assassin. Yeah, so
that's pretty good.
The one he passed away in 2010, and the one I think one of the big hits, I think you can find it on YouTube, where Jack Tatum hit Darryl Stingley.
Oh yeah, yeah.
In Stingley, I think Stingley is paralyzed on that.
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate, but yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So,
a couple other notable names: Adrian Peterson at 45, Larry Fitzgerald at 46. The next Buckeye at 47, who most people probably don't know, is Howard Hopalong Cassidy. Played from 1952 to 1955. For his, for the time frame that he played in, he was, really great running back. Completely dominant. Eric Dickerson at 49. Archie Manning at 50, which takes us to number 51, Orlando Pace.
Yeah, Orlando Pace was amazing for his size and the way he could run the field, almost like a big man on the basketball court. Who could run the floor really well. Yeah. Orlando Pace would be down the field almost like side by side with Eddie George, blocking for Eddie George and just creaming guys.
Yeah, he was so much fun to watch. For those that don't know, if you ever hear the term pancake block, that was actually created by Orlando Pace. That's what it started to call up, his blocks, because he would just flatten guys like a pancake.
Yeah, Orlando Pace, I think he even had like a publicity photo where he was He had a picture with like a bunch of pancakes.
Oh, I don't know if I ever saw that. I mean, I'm sure it probably did at some point. But.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there it is. There it is. Like they took a picture of me. I'll flip this around. Hope it doesn't make sense.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah. So,
and I believe first overall pick in the NFL draft, right?
he was,
Yeah.
at the time St. Louis Rams.
Yeah, to the St. Louis Rams at the time. Yeah.
Helped them get a Super Bowl ring.
Yep. Clearly the best. Well, you could make the argument that maybe Jonathan Ogden might be in the conversation for the greatest left tackle of all time. But
in college,
he
played for UCLA.
Yeah. So I mean,
they were just kind of.
You don't really get a whole lot of press playing out there.
No.
If you're a.
I mean, you could argue that Orlando Pace should be up higher on this list.
Oh yeah, you could definitely make that argument. I mean,
he was dominant.
Yeah, at number 51, I mean, you could almost put him in maybe the top 30.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So some other notable names while we get to some other Buckeyes. Ricky Williams, number 57, one of the best running backs in college football history. We talked a little bit about Jack Tatum, another great safety, hard hitter. Number 58, Ronnie Lott.
Yeah.
Played at USC from 1977 to 1980.
Yeah, Ronnie Lott. 250 tackles in college at safety, which is crazy.
14 interceptions.
Yeah. They had some great teams at that time.
Yeah, they definitely did.
USC was very dominant back in the 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
They came back around again. I'm trying to think 90s, maybe not so much in the 90s. Southern Cal.
Yeah.
They were okay.
They didn't make another run until the late 90s, early 2000s when they started to really make that run again with Pete Carroll and stuff.
Yeah. So kind of ebbs and flows with college football programs.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. Reggie Bush is in there at 61.
Yeah, I was just seeing his name there.
He had 6,617 all-purpose yards.
I think he sort of sometimes gets left behind because of the scandal that was actually going on while he was there. Which is sort of that's sort of unfair to him. Excuse me, but he's one of the most dominant players in college football history. I mean, every time he touched the ball, he was a threat to score. No matter what.
There's a really good, if you want to just go and watch like a quick highlight video, I always think the best one is Reggie Bush highlights versus Fresno State in 2005.
Yeah.
He put together runs in that game that were insane. He stopped on a dime as guys were flying by him on the sideline. I mean, he cut back. I mean, it was unbelievable. Go look up Reggie Bush against Fresno State in 2005 on YouTube. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
He had almost 300 yards against them, rushing and receiving.
And that was something special for especially 2005 or 4 because they didn't really run the ball that much, and that was sort of when the game started to really transition into the spread game more. So. Yeah, it was. Yeah. He was something special to watch.
Yeah, he was almost like somewhere in between, as far as just college. If we're talking about college, like everybody knows how Braxton Miller had that sort of burst and that wiggle. Mm-hmm. He was almost like a mix between Braxton Miller at playing like running back, but in the open field, like he could run like Braxton, but also had some Barry Sanders in him.
Right.
He was crazy.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun to watch, man. Reggie Bush, who does not get as much credit as he really deserves for being one of the greatest college football players.
Yeah, another interesting one on down the list is 150 players, but Randy Moss played for Marshall, who was then FCS at the time. Yeah. So it's kind of cool that another FCS gets on here.
Absolutely. In fact, one that we actually passed was Jerry Rice. I think. I think he was at maybe 18 or 19.
Mississippi Valley State.
Yeah, he played at Mississippi Valley State, which is another Division II / FCS school. Just going back down here, trying to find some more notable names. Number 74 is a great name because LaDainian Tomlinson gets so much credit for being such a great pro that people forget how dominant he was in college football. He played at TCU from 1997 to 2000. He was outstanding. So much fun to watch.
Yeah, TCU 97 2000. Yeah, he led college football in rushing in 99 with 1,850 yards. They ran for 2158 as a senior. I mean, this is on a TCU team where everyone's just keying to stop him.
Yeah.
And he's still busting out.
Yeah. I mean, that was whoever played them, their whole game plan was just stop him. They had nobody else but him, and he was still able to do what he did.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, he was up for the Heisman, finished fourth in the 2000 Heisman voting.
Who did win it that year? Ron Dane?
2000.
I want to say it was Ron Dane in 2000, but I could be wrong.
Heisman. Chris Winkie.
What a joke. Chris Winkie.
Chris Winkie, the funniest thing about him.
Florida State quarterback.
He was 28 years old.
Yeah, I know. He was Derek Anderson before, or no, I'm sorry, Brandon Whedon before, Brandon Whedon was around.
Shoot, I thought you were going to go like Scott Bakula. Unnecessary roughness.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, Scott Bakula.
Yeah.
How many years of eligibility you have left there? I hope he gets a younger as he gets closer. My gosh. Other notable names, number 76, who some call the greatest college football player ever, is Tim Tebow, of course, at number 76. I don't know if I would make that stretch, but
Timmy Tebow.
He had his moments. He was a lot of fun to watch. He's been pretty well documented for his inability to make it as a pro. But
145 touchdowns in college. 145.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah, 9,200, almost 9,300 passing yards, almost 3,000 rushing yards in college. Yeah, I mean, he was something else.
Yeah,
you can't. He was a competitor.
Yeah, you can't really deny he is one of the greatest. So this is what I'm going to say is he was one of the greatest college football players that I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. He really was, for everything that he brought to the game, his toughness, competitiveness, not the best thrower of the football, but was able to just make plays. So,
yeah, I mean, he's basically in the Urban Meyer's offense that basically, I mean, he was like JT Barrett, but I mean, even he took that role in that offense even to like a whole other extreme as far as running the ball. And I mean, he was bigger than, he was just a little bit better running quarterback than JT Barrett.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Especially around short yardage and stuff.
Ironically, I think he was a better runner and JT was a little bit better passer than he was. So, they were sort of, polar opposites of each other.
Yeah. So yeah, he was something else.
Trying to find some more Buckeyes on the list here. We'll get to them. How are we doing on time? I don't know what we got.
are at. See, so we only got 11 minutes.
Okay, so we'll just kind of skip through this list here some then. Just to sort of name some names.
Yeah, Drew Brees.
Yeah, I was going to mention Drew Brees is at number 93 on the list here. So
another interesting one is Tommy Frazier,
Nebraska quarterback.
Yeah, 92 to 95. This dude, I mean, they ran an option offense, and this guy was something else. He was basically like a running back. At quarterback, threw only when they had to. Yeah, and they destroyed Florida to win a national championship. I've never seen. They kicked the shit out of them.
I know. So
62 to 24. The national title game like that lopsided is something else.
So just to sort of put into perspective of how little they actually threw the ball, he threw for 3,500 total yards in in 4 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, they didn't throw the ball very often. So I mean, that is an average of less than 1,000 yards per year. So, I mean, not really a productive quarterback as far as throwing the football, but he was a dominant player whenever he had the ball in his hands, for sure.
Yeah, he was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Let's see, Deshaun Watson, 101.
Yeah, he was almost a Buckeye. It was between us and Clemson whenever he was getting recruited, and Urban almost got him to come here. But no, he wound up at Clemson, and it sort of flies under the radar as far as college players go. You don't usually see him on a list of some of the greatest players, but I mean, he was really good. He was really, great college football player for sure.
103, Sid Luckman. That's really interesting. Not moving on.
Yeah, I didn't know where you were going with that one. I'm glad you sort of did that, because I was gonna sort of skip right over Sid Luckman to go to a couple other guys here, a couple other notable ones. Julius Peppers and Junior Seau are at 104 and 105. Two of the greatest, two of the greatest defensive players that you'll find.
Yeah. Mike Singletary. We can probably, this is a good segue if we jump from Singletary to Spielman.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Singletary, this is crazy. He had Singletary's ridiculous. This dude, I don't know how many years he was a starter. Yeah, he was a starter as a freshman. He had 662 tackles in college. He had a pedestrian 97 as a freshman.
97 tackles.
Just, he was, I mean, I don't know what was wrong with him. The next year, as a sophomore, he has 232 tackles.
That's unheard of. That's insane.
We get 32 out of Tough Borland. This guy had 232.
I don't think that our linebackers had that combined this year. I mean, it's ridiculous.
188 as a junior, 145 as a senior.
He was a little,
he had senioritis.
Yeah, he had senioritis. He was already checked out.
In 1978, this is his sophomore year. 1978, he had 33 tackles against Arkansas. And 31 against us, Ohio State. He was named All-American, All Southwest Conference 3 times, first team All-American twice.
Yeah. Southwest Conference they're not even in operation now. But
the most, I mean, you don't see linebackers get that many tackles anymore. I mean, sometimes you see guys elite guys flirt with 20,
right?
In a game.
Sure. Yeah.
30?
Yeah, 30 in a game, you don't see that. I mean, the most you really could see in a game nowadays is maybe 12 or 13. I mean, that is really considered a dominant game, is that 12 or 13 tackles.
Yeah, so we jumped to number 143 on the list is Chris Spielman, who when I first started watching, I can remember games as far back as 1985.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the rainy Iowa game here.
Yeah.
And Chris Spielman, I remember stuff where he used to do that Troy Polamalu move that maybe some people remember more, where he would dive over time the snap and dive over the center.
Yeah. Chris
Spielman did that back with that. And he had sacks on the quarterback like that, or he busted up plays. He had let's see, he had 546 for his career tackles, 283 solo, and he had 29 against Michigan in his junior season.
Yeah.
29 tackles.
I sort of want to get upset at him being this low on the list, but I sort of understand it. I think part of what they're doing too is, and it seems unfair, but it seems like some of them, they're taking into account their whole football career to a certain extent, and Chris Spielman's pro career wasn't awful, but he wasn't I don't think he's going to make the pro football,
He's done in there.
I don't think he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't believe so. He's in the College Football Hall of Fame, but I don't think Chris Spielman's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's in the College Football Hall of Fame. But...
Yeah, so I mean, I understand him being this low on the list, but you could also make a really good argument that he should be at least in the top 100, and not in the bottom half of the list. So.
Yeah. Feels like Spielman's career got cut short a little bit in pro, but
he was,
a little bit.
With the Lions and the Bills for most of his career. Then he tried to come back with the Browns in 1999, and he stopped because of a neck injury. So
yeah. So our last topic, let's see how much time we got. Oh man, we don't have much time left.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe we'll check. We should hear more about, we were going to go over the transfer portal.
Yeah.
But we may hear a little bit more coming up by next week. Maybe not.
Yeah.
That might be just kind of an ongoing thing till mid-February anyway.
Yeah, it probably will be. There will be some names that are going to be, in and out. So, we may have a better list to go off of by next week anyway.
Yeah, like the Buckeyes. There was Buckeyes that went into the transfer portal, and one of them's a defensive lineman. It was Alex Williams. He was a defensive end. He was a 3-star coming out of high school, so he's entering the transfer portal. He doesn't know where he's going. Isaiah Pryor was a safety. He's a 4-star coming out of high school.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, so he's looks like he's going to Notre Dame.
Right, yeah.
And then Brendan White, who played a lot last year.
Yeah.
But this year he just like.
Yeah, for those that don't know, he was number 25.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he's now transferring to Rutgers.
Yeah.
So he should immediately start there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll touch more on that. We can go over some other stuff that's interesting, because there's another guy out there named De'Eric King.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of from Houston. He was a guy who kind of had an interesting story that he only played a few games last year for Houston, and he kind of like bowed out of the program. It was kind of interesting. He might turn some people off with that.
Yeah, he was talking about redshirting, and he didn't know, and then
it was weird.
It was really strange. And,
so,
controversial.
Potential suitors he might have are like Oklahoma, because he's a dual threat quarterback, LSU. People that are kind of going into next year with a lot of quarterback questions. So you might hear more on that next week. Maybe not, but maybe. So
and next week we are going to have someone on the show with us. We had mentioned previously Adam Howe, who runs the 3-Man Booth podcast that talks about wrestling. Adam is also a big football fan. He's actually he's my assistant coach on the football team, on the youth football team that I coach. He's going to be on next week. We're going to talk some more football and maybe kind of mix in a little bit of wrestling stuff. So
yeah, it should be fun. We'll make it fun. That might, who knows, that it could be our best episode. So but thanks for listening, and follow us on Twitter at Beyond Buckeyes, and subscribe, review everywhere that you find our podcast. It helps us out. It just makes it more searchable. Comes up in results easier if it has more reviews and subscribers. So it kind of helps us keep this going and get better at it. So hopefully it sounds a little bit better today than last week, and we'll just keep it going. So appreciate you listening. Be sure to review or subscribe. Look at YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google, Anchor, wherever you find us, and Twitter. Give us a follow, and we'll try to put out some more stuff that's interesting and funny and entertaining. So thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we'll see you.
Bye.